Now I am going to discuss about the economic survey, volume 1, chapter 5 and 6 in this class. Chapter 5 mainly deals about healthcare. Thanks, at least healthcare takes a center stage now. Because of the health emergency, because of the pandemic, healthcare got the highest priority, which need to be given long back, but now we got a good news that health stage got the center stage. It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver, according to Mahatma Gandhi. It is the health. It is the health is itself the real wealth, not money, nothing else. People will be having lot of money, they will be not be in a position to eat what they wish. Then what they will do with the wealth? Health is most important. COVID-19 pandemic had created a stage whereby the government started focusing on the health. COVID-19 pandemic emphasized the importance of healthcare sector and its interlinkages with other sectors, showcased how a health crisis transformed into an economic and social crisis. How a health crisis has been transformed into economic and social crisis. The ongoing pandemic has showcased how a healthcare crisis can get transformed into an economic and social crisis. So this health crisis was being transformed into economic and social crisis. Given its potential to provide healthcare access in remote areas, telemedicine needs to be harnessed to the fullest by especially investing in internet connectivity and health infrastructure. Yes. So there is a need to put investment on internet connectivity and health infrastructure so that the telemedicine will be a major tool for the remote areas where the health infrastructure cannot reach there. As a bulk of health care in India is provided by the private sector, it is critical for policy makers to design policies that mitigate information asymmetry in healthcare, which creates market failures and thereby renders unregulated private healthcare suboptimal. You know, out of the pocket expenditure of the people on the healthcare sector is maximum. That too on the private sector, out of the pocket they will be spending for the health sector. The expenditure on the health sector in public sector is very minimal when compared to the expenditure on health sector of private is maximum. So at least we need to bother about putting investment into the public health sector so that the people will not be spending their money out of their pocket. Key learnings need to be gleaned from the current health crisis to enable India to effectively respond to future pandemics. The health infrastructure must be agile. The health infrastructure must be agile. Yes, it should be in such a way that we can create, we can recreate, we can change, we can amend. So the health structure infrastructure need to be agile. Given its potential to provide healthcare access in remote areas, telemedicine needs to be harnessed the fullest by especially investing in internet connectivity and health infrastructure, mainly in the remotest parts of the country. So it need to be internet connectivity and it need to be health infrastructure. The National Health Mission has played a critical role in mitigating inequity as the access of the poorest to prenatal and postnatal care as well as institutional deliveries has increased significantly. Therefore, in conjunction with Ayushman Bharat, the emphasis on National Health Mission should continue. An increase in public spending from 1 to 2.5 to 3% of GDP as envisaged in the National Health Policy 2017 can decrease the out-of-pocket expenditure from 65 to 30% of overall health care expenditure. So, the governments are spending minimal 1% of the GDP is being used for the expenditure or spending on the health infrastructure development. It need to be increased from 1% to 3%, which is also recommended by the Sainath committee recommendations, as well as the economic survey also told that there is a need for improving the health infrastructure by budget allocation up to 3% of the GDP. Bulk of the health care in India is provided by the private sector. It is critical for policy makers to design policies that mitigate information asymmetry in healthcare. A sectoral regulator to undertake regulation and supervision of the healthcare sector must be considered given the market failures stemming from information asymmetry. World Health Organization also highlights the growing importance of the same. So there is a need to bridge the gap between the information asymmetry. There is a need for information. The mitigation of information asymmetry would also help lower insurance premium, enable the offering of better products, and help increase the insurance penetration in the. Similarly, maternal mortality correlates negatively with increase in per capita public health expenditure. Increased health expenditure also reduces out-of-pocket expenses, preventing vulnerable groups from slipping into. In case of low levels of public health expenditure, that is where public health care expenditure was percentage of GDP is less than 3%, out-of-pocket expenditure as share of total health expenditure drops perception. When public health expenditure increases, so there is a need for public health expenditure, then the out-of-pocket expenditure of the public will be reduced. For instance, an increase in public health expenditure from the current levels in India to 3% of GDP can reduce the out-of-pocket expenditure from 60% currently to about 30%. So it is the government expenditure on the public infrastructure will reduce the out-of-pocket expenditure of the public. Given significant market failures, healthcare needs careful system design. So healthcare requires a careful system design. It should not be hijacked by the private sector. It should be under the control of the public sector, mainly the health and education. Healthcare systems do not self-organize using the force of free markets because of three key inherent unchanging characteristics: one, uncertainty, variability of demand; information asymmetry; hyperbolic tendencies. Uncertainty or variability of demand. Falling victim to disease cannot be predicted, but need for medical and especially emergency care is inelastic in nature. Thus, insurance is a logical safety net. So there is a need for logical safety net. Why? Because uncertainty with respect to occurrence of disease. So the best solution is insurance, health insurance. Uncertainty or variability of demand. Information asymmetry. Patients are unable to judge quality of healthcare received, while insurance agencies do not have access to patient data such as dietary habits, lifestyle choices, etc., leading to higher premiums. This is also information asymmetry. Hyperbolic tendencies, indulgence in risky behavior and underestimating health risks. Hence, any active system design of healthcare must be mindful of this inherent characteristics, that there should be uncertainty should be overcome by the insurance. Information symmetry should be there with the insurance sector, so there will not be higher premiums. Hyperbolic tendencies, indulgence in risky behavior and underestimating health risks should be there. For example, I will not wear a mask, and if I go outside, the chance of occurrence of coronavirus will be very high, and when I come back to my own family, from me there is a chance for spreading to my family. Eventually there will be community transmission, that is called as hyperbolic tendencies. The occurrence of the spread of diseases will be because of risky behaviors. So these are the three characteristics which is leading to unchanging, which is leading to healthcare systems need to be organized. When we organize these three, there is a concept called as salience bias. Brilliance point of view, very important. The term salience bias was in economic survey or was in recently in news is with respect to what? Salience bias. Fact that individuals are more likely to focus on items that are more prominent and ignore those that are less so. So which are very prominent, which are very popular, the people will be biased for that, but which are not prominent, that is called a salience bias. Given for system design in healthcare, given this market failures, a free market where individual consumers purchase services from providers on their own, while paying at the point of service leads to severely suboptimal outcomes, including demand that can be influenced and induced by suppliers overseeking of hospitalization, underseeking of primary care, public health. When compared to economically optimal levels and catastrophic out-of-pocket spending in part due to the low preference of health insurance. So primary care, public health when compared to economically optimal levels. So there is a need to focus on the public health, mainly the primary health care center. With respect to insurance also need to be, health insurance also need to be taken care about, need to be emphasized more. That is one system design we need to make. Most well-functioning health systems are structured as oligopolies, like Apollo, Mediplus, oligopolies. Purchasing from oligosiphons instead of individual consumer purchasing from individual providers, or insurance also. Only few insurance companies will be there, few hospitals will be dominating. So such sort of oligopoly should not be there. There is a key role for the government is to actively shape the structure of the healthcare market. Proper structural changes need to be bring in healthcare market. India's healthcare policy, as pandemics represents rare events, earlier it was Spanish flu, now it is COVID-19, healthcare policies can become a victim of salience bias. So most of the people are taking this, so I will take this. So there is a chance for salience bias, which involves overweighting recent phenomenon. 71% of the global deaths and about 65% of deaths in India are caused by non-communicable disease. Now everyone is focusing about the communicable disease. Now everyone is focusing upon the coronavirus. So it is a salience bias, but the most of the deaths is because of non-communicable diseases like diabetes, heart diseases, etc. Between 1990 and 2016, the contribution of non-communicable disease increased from 37% to 61%. According to National Health Portal. Further preventing communicable disease requires focus on better sanitation and drinking water, which the Swachh Bharat and the Har Ghar Jal Abhiyan campaigns are already focusing on. So, how the trend from communicable disease to non-communicable disease is happening, we will see. The red line is communicable disease. The communicable disease is reducing. Communicable disease, maternal, neonatal and nutritional disease is reducing, whereas non-communicable disease is increasing by 2020. So the focus is in non-communicable disease should be there, but there is a salience bias, so we are bothered only about the communicable disease, but we need to bother also about the non-communicable diseases. Better health infrastructure is no guarantee that a country would be able to deal better with devastating pandemics like COVID-19, as seen in the experience of European and North American nations, as the next health crisis would possibly be drastically different from COVID-19. The focus must be on building the healthcare system generally rather than specific focus on this. So now we need to have a ex ante, which is the word which is used very frequently in ex ante, which means expected outcome, future predictions should be proper health care. So it might be communicable disease or non-communicable disease, we should be in a position to have resilience. So bothering about the ex ante, expected, we need to develop our health infrastructure. Despite improvements in healthcare access and quality, scored at 41.2 in 2016 up from 24.7 in 1990. India continues to underperform in comparison to other low and lower middle income on quality and access of healthcare. India was ranked at 145th out of 180 countries. Global burden of disease study. With respect to MMR and IMR, India still needs to improve significantly on these metrics. Hospitalization rates in India are among the lowest in the world at 3 to 4%, reflecting lower access and utilization of healthcare. India has one of the highest levels of out-of-pocket expenditure in the. So this is all we need to bother about with respect to healthcare sector. However, the distribution of public subsidy has improved in favor of the poor, more clearly in maternity and child care. Yes. Matru Sahayog Yojana, Janani Suraksha Yojana. Yes, the subsidy is mainly targeting the poor, mainly at the maternal health and child health. Earlier studies have argued that public sector based healthcare has been pro-rich, but now it is not pro-rich, it is poor concentrated. This has resulted in poor households being disproportionately impacted by out-of-the-pocket expenditure and pushed below the poverty line. But now there is a better thing that at least we are bothered about the poor people with respect to maternal and child care. In recent times, the percentage of the poorest utilizing prenatal care through public facilities has increased from 19.9% to 24% from 2004 to 2018, and there is a similar increase in the percentage of poor accessing institutional delivery as well as in postnatal care. That is a good sign. So mainly in maternal care and child care, the public is believing in public health sector. But the biggest problem is low budget allocation. Health is a state subject in India, and most of the budget allocation, most of the expenditure will be from the state governments. 66% of the budget allocation, 66% of the expenditures on the health sector will be from the state government budgets. Spending on healthcare by states matter the most when examining government healthcare spending. According to National Health Account, 66% of spending on healthcare is done by the states. India ranks 179th out of 189 countries in prioritization according to health in its government budgets. Also, the richer states are spending a lower proportion of their gross state domestic product on healthcare. The states that have higher per capita spending have lower cut-off pocket expenditure. which also holds true at global level. Hence, there is a need for higher public spending on healthcare to reduce out of low human resource for health. World Health Organization identified an aggregate density of health workers to be 44.5% per 10,000 population, and an adequate skill mix of health workers to achieve composite sustainable development goal tracer indicators index by 2030. The World Health Organization also specified a lower range of 23 health workers per 10,000 population to achieve 80% of births attended by skilled health professionals. Agreed human resource for health density in India is close to the lower threshold of 23. The distribution of health workforce across states is lopsided. Also, skill mix of doctor, also the skill mix of doctor, nurse, midwife ratio is far from adequate. So, health professionals are also very less in India. So, there is a need to bother about the health professionals as well as budget allocation. Among the most common metrics of qualities in the hospital setting is unplanned readmission. The next is readmission. So they will be admitted first time. So again they will be readmitted because of no proper care taken in the first time. So the readmission is squeezing more money from the patients. The readmission is the biggest problem. Public sector patients get readmitted to the same hospital 64% of the time versus 70% for private hospitals. Readmissions are costlier than original admissions. Quality of treatment in the private sector does not seem to be markedly better than compared to the public sector, yet the cost of treatment not only uniformly higher in the private sector, but the difference are also humongous for inpatient treatments for severe illness. Humongously higher expenditure will be happening in the private hospital. Data clearly highlights the presence of asymmetry information in the Indian private health insurance market. So there is absence of information. Finally, given the information asymmetry that make unregulated private enterprises suboptimal in healthcare, a sectoral regulator that undertakes regulation and supervision of the healthcare sector must be seriously considered. So we need to have a regulator on the private sector, and complete supervision on the private and public healthcare sector need to be happened. That is what which is recommended by the Economic Survey 2020 and 2021. So mainly the private sector, readmission, the health professionals, and the budget allocations on the health sector is very lower, and we are moving from communicable disease to shift to epidemiological transition to non-communicable diseases. So there should not be any salience bias where everyone is bothered about the people. It's called a salience bias. So everyone is bothered about communicable disease. The bothering about the communicable disease is high, but there is a need to bother about non-communicable disease as well. That is what the Economic Survey is telling about. And the next unit in Economic Survey volume 1 is unit number 6, that which I am going to discuss right now. That is reforms enabling decision making under uncertainty. So the decision making should not be uncertain, the decision making should be appropriate. So there is a need for process. Issue of over-regulation is illustrated through time taken for a company to undergo voluntary liquidation in India. If one company want to be liquidated completely, if a company want to be closed completely, liquidation completely, in India it is taking 1570 days, means approximately 4.2 years to complete liquidation of a company. Means what? If any company is established, if it want to be liquidated, 1570 days it is taking to complete liquidification of the company. Means now if I show this parameters to any company, in any personnel who want to establish a company in India, he will be feared to establish his company. Using the framework of incomplete contracts, the chapter argues that the problem of over-regulation, opacity in Indian administrative process flows from the emphasis on having complete regulations that accounts for every possible outcome. This is due to the inadequate appreciation of the difference between the regulation and supervision on the one hand, and the inevitability of incomplete regulations on the people are unable to understand the government and the government machinery, and the liquidification agencies are unable to understand between the regulation and supervision. They are supervising it. You have to just regulate what are the mistakes are there, you have to correct the mistakes, and you have to give them the guidelines, but supervising, totally taking under the control. So there is a mismatch between the supervision and regulation in the Indian market. The problem is that the policy makers by default tend to favor prescriptive regulation over supervision. Like that, you have to regulate like this. In this way, the regulation should happen. Just you supervise it, not over supervise it, just supervise it. Just see that whether they are following according to the regulations or not. So there should not be prescriptive regulation, there should be just supervision. The optimal solution is to have simple regulations combined with transparent decision making process. Having provided the government decision maker with the discretion, it is important then to balance it with the three things: improve transparency, stronger systems of ex ante accountability, such as bank boards. Ex ante accountability means expected accountability, ex post resolution based upon today's fact based resolution mechanism. So fact based resolution mechanism we need to adopt, and the accountability and transparency should reach the expectations, and there is need for improved transparency. Problem of regulatory effectiveness. The real issue of Indian administration seems to be effectiveness of regulations caused by undue delays. See, 1570 days they are taking. Undue delay, rent seeking, complex regulations and quality of regulations. There is one report, the World Rule of Law Index. The World Rule of Law Index, published by the World Justice Project, provides cross-country comparison on various aspects of regulatory enforcement. Is seen in the table in the next slide. As well as World Bank Ease of Doing Report 2020 shows that despite making huge strides in the overall ease of doing business rank, India still lacks in subcategories like starting a business, registering a property, where the country's rank is 136 and 154 respectively. In starting a business it is 136 and registering a property it is 150. The report points out that this is due to the high number of procedures required to legally start and formally operate a company, as well as the time and cost consumed to complete each. For example, India's rank in various categories of regulatory enforcement, which is called as World Rule of Law Index, which is given by the World Justice Project. Regulatory enforcement overall rank India to 6974. Government regulations are effectively enforced 87, 104. Government regulations are applied and enforced without improper influence 74, 107. Administrative proceedings are conducted without unreasonable delay 75, 89. Due process is respected in administrative proceedings 72, 45. Number of countries 102, 108. So yes, the rank is been increased, but the country also increased. But the India need to be improved very well should increase in regulatory mechanism, and this report is given by the project called as World Justice. A study by the Quality Council of India done for economic survey shows that the time taken from point of decision of closure to actually the company getting struck off from the register of companies is 1570 days, 4.3 years. Even if it is not involved in any litigation or court. This is the best possible case of routine activity. Interestingly, out of the total time taken, about 1035 days are taken for clearance by income tax, provident fund, GST departments, and taking back security refunds from various departments. In contrast, voluntary liquidation takes place about 12 months in Singapore, 224 months in Germany, and 15 months in UK. But India is taking 4.3 years. Petition rate and success rate. In courts and tribunals, petition rates are 87, success rate is 27. In high courts 83, 13. Income tax administrative tribunal 88, 27. Provisional estimates. So success rate is also very poor, because of which the time which is getting delayed is very much high. So the delay, the complex regulatory mechanism is making the companies to establish a worried thing. Thus, bureaucracies prefer to make decisions based on regulatory checklists to prevent ex post actual outcomes scrutiny and questioning of use of discretionary powers. Hence, government departments take actions either to tick off boxes in checklist of regulation or follow the default. So, in that way, because of the complex regulatory mechanism, the companies are interested to invest in India. We are doing ease of doing business properly. Then what about the regulatory mechanism? The regulatory mechanism is also unpopular in India. Maximum governance, minimum government should be there. Yes. Transparency in decision making process, apart from having intrinsic value, is appreciated because It promotes trust in public institutions, makes market efficient. The institutions like insolvency and bankruptcy code, debt recovery tribunals are good thing with respect to regulatory mechanism. However, the court system remains the single most important way for ex post, means actual resolution will be this. Yes. India's rank in World Rule of Law Index, out of 128 World Rule of Index, it is 69. People can access and afford civil justice, 115. Civil justice is not subject to unreasonable delay, 123. Delay. Civil justice is effectively enforced, 102. Why? Because the business and all comes under civil justice. Alternative dispute resolution mechanism is 88 out of 120. So India is worst performing with respect to this regulatory mechanisms. Cross-country comparison of rule of law indicator, the Singapore is the best performing, and India is somewhere in between. There are World Rule of Law Index by the World Justice Project, which is given by the World Bank source. Directions of administrative process, labor falls under the concurrent list of the constitution. Therefore, both parliament and state legislatures can make laws relating to labor. This led to multiplicity of regulations. Government of India merged the existing 29 central labor laws into 4 labor codes now. That is a good sign. Code on Wages was passed in July 2019. Industrial Relations Code 2020. Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions, Social Security Code 2020 were passed in the Parliament. Now we have only 4 labor laws. Earlier it was 29. Hence, to reduce the compliance burden of the BPO industry, government announced new guidelines on OSPs on 5th November. Under the new regulation, the registration requirement for the OSPs has been done away with together, and the BPO industry engaged in data related work. Work from home and work from anywhere policies have also been removed. This has significantly liberalized the regulation for the BPO. The need for process simplicity extends to the institutional architecture as well. So there is a requirement of minimum government and maximum governance for the sake of ease of doing business. Finally, there is a case for enacting Transparency Rules Act to end any asymmetry of information regarding rules and regulations faced by a citizen. Under this act, all departments will need to mandatorily page all citizens facing rules on their website. Officials will not be able to impose any rule not explicitly mentioned on the websites clearly. Further, all laws, rules and regulations will have to be presented as an updated, unified whole always. This will bring transparency and simplify the understanding of the regulation. This is about, So the topic is about process reforms. Mainly process reforms means regulatory system. The complex regulatory systems need to be avoided. Why? Because we are underperforming with respect to World Rule of Law Index. So there is a need to simplify the regulatory mechanism is the summary of the topic, unit number 6. Thank you.